Thank you. Donkey. Okay, so you guys had to do number 3. Kom ons kyk gou-gou. First things first, hulle sê daar dis die skool se begroting, né? Okay, but before I could put it into fractions, I had to go get the total, né? So ek gaan daar begin. Die totaal, ek gaan nou nie uitskryf hoe ek almal van hulle gaan optel nie, but basically I added up all of them, and that was supposed to give you 5, sorry. 5, like that. That's that. Goed, excuse my nulle was 'n bietjie verkeerd uitgedruk. Right, so let's start with the first one. En ek gaan nie als uitskryf vir die akademiese vaktoekennings. Gaan wees. Let's put it into fraction. That would be 200,000 over the total of 5.9. En om dit in te sit in grade, we're going to say times 360 degrees. En nou moet julle net my double check elke keer. Kry julle 12.2? Okay. Goed, ek gaan hom eers gou so hou met desimale, né? Okay, dan die admin, die administrasie. That was also same thing, 200, oops, over the 5.9. So dit gaan vir my presies dieselfde gee. So again, 12.20 degrees, né? Okay, dan rekenaar. Wat's fout? Soek julle hitte. Okay, so that was 700,000 over the 5.9 maal met 360, so dit gee vir jou 42,71. Who got that? Okay, goed, kan ek skip? Okay, grond en onderhoud. Grond en onderhoud was gewees, that was 800 over the 5.9 times 360 degrees. En dit geef my 48,81. Did you guys get that? Okay, dan photocopying. Ek het hom tot 2 gevat, ja. Ek gaan nou kyk as ons klaar is, but when you guys had to draw it, né? So as ek net vir jou vra om dit vir my uit te werk, then you would leave it, let's say, to 2 decimals. Ek gaan meer spesifiek wees in die toets, né? If we were to say draw the circle, then you guys can't draw a 48,81 degrees. So then we'd have to round it off. So this I would then make 49 degrees. Nee? En as dit sê maar was soos by die rekenaarsentrum, that would become 43 degrees. This would just become 12 degrees. And over here as well, 12 degrees. Dan, jy moet net aan die einde, nadat jy dit afgerond het, gaan seker maak dat as ek dit optel, dat dit vir my gee 360 grade. Okay, it's not supposed to add up to like 361 degrees. Okay. But if you rounded everything off correct, then it should add up to 360. Okay. Good. So the photocopying, that was 1 million over the 5.9. Again, times 360 degrees. So dit was veronderstel om vir jou te gee 61,02 grade. Okay, so if I were to round that off, it would just be 61 degrees. Okay, then the sport facilities, that was 500,000 over the 5.9 million times 360 degrees. So your answer will be 30,51. Wie het hom gekry? Good. Then the textbooks. Handboeken. That was 200,000. So that's going to be the same as what we started off with. Nee. Yes, dit voel vir my, ek wil eintlik skryf handboeke, akademiese vaktoekenning, administrasie, want daar's soveel keer wat jy dieselfde bewerking doen, né? So it's also 12,2 degrees. Kan ek skip? Kan ek maar skip? Okay, dan salarisse, salaries. Dit was 2 miljoen oor die 5,9 miljoen times 360 degrees. So that would give me 122.03 degrees. And then the last one, water and electricity. $300,000 over 5.9 times 360 gaan vir jou gee 18,31 grade. Okay, you guys good with that? Okay, now the drawing of the circle, it's not going to help me drawing it here because you guys, first things first, did you guys round it off? Maar nou is klaar mense wat gesê het, juffrou, ek het die cirkel geteken nie. Huh? Did you round it off?
No, ma'am, said die mense het gesê die cirkel geteken.
Okay, wie het die cirkel geteken? Okay, good. Kon julle regkom met die meet van die grade, want dis nou iets wat jy eintlik in graad, dink jy julle het eers graad 9 gedoen nie, want het was COVID. Did you guys do it in grade 8 last, I think? Nee? Ook nie graad 8 gedoen nie? Oh my head, weet julle om daarmee te werk? Huh? Okay. Okay, so were you guys fine with the measuring of those angles? Nee? And did it add up to 360 in the end? Good. Okay. Now, goed. Kom ons kyk gou-gou. Nou is ek in your textbook on page 246. Okay, dis gou-gou. So, grafiese voorstellings van gegroepeerde data. We're going to get to that packet a little later on. That will be tomorrow. The packet that I handed out. Nee, want daar gaan jy sien, praat hulle meer van gemiddeld, mediaan, modus, ensovoorts. Nee? But before we can get to that, we've got to sort out these frequency tables. Okay, hulle sê daar, dit gebeur dikwels dat die data waarmee jy werk, te veel is. Wat dit noodsaaklik maak om die data te gaan groepeer. So let's use a simple example. If I'm taking all the math marks of the grade 10s, it means, no, now it's Mr. Creer. Can I quickly answer? Hallo meneer Creer. Goed en jy? Ek sit gou met graad 10 hier voor my en jy's nou lekker op my recording. Waarmee help ek vir jou? Ek het, ja. Jy kan, ja, moet ek 'n kind stuur na jou toe. Ek is in opslaan klas langs die bib, die een met die groen strepe. Okay, bye. Bye. Toe maar die meneer soek net. Okay, right. Nou moet ek net die, want hy's nou hier. Goed, so, let's say we're using all the marks of the grade 10 learners from Worcester Gym, nee? Dan gaan jy onmoontlik. You can't go and have a bar for each learner in grade 10. It's too many, nee? So wat ons dan gaan doen is, we're going to put them in groups. Come on. Hello? How's that? Alright, so it's impossible to have a bar for each learner in your grade. Want hoeveel van julle is daar? Oor die 200? Nee. Okay, so then we put them into groups. Because we're using math marks, we'll say percentage-wise, everyone that got a mark between 0 and 10%, we'll group all of those together. Nee, en almal wat meer as 10 het, maar tot en met 20%. Dit groepeer ons bymekaar. So that essentially means that I will just have 10 bars in my graph. Do you guys understand? Okay, goed. So dis wat hulle hier vir my sê. Ons groepeer dit. And those groups, as I said just now, between 0 and 10%, we call that a class interval. Okay? Class interval. Goed. Die inligting kan dan voorgestel word deur een van twee en eintlik drie. The first one is a stingel en blaar diagram, né? Stem and leaf diagram. Do you guys remember that? Goed, ons gaan nou 'n voorbeeld van hom doen. You can either do it in that form or a histogram, né? A histogram, that's the one that's got no gaps, né? No gaps, history, né? No gaps. En dan, en hierin gaan jy baie van nou afteken, frekwensie veelhoeke. Okay. Frequency, am I right? Just frequency tables? Nee, okay. Frekwensie veelhoeke te gebruik. Okay, nou kom ons kyk gou-gou na daai voorbeeld. Hier sê hulle vir my, 'n gesondheids- en 'n fiksheidsgroep het 'n meningspeiling in die omgewing gedoen om uit te vind watter ouderdomme meer dikwels van gimnasiums gebruik maak. That's a gym. Die groep van die ouderdomme wat hulle huidige kliënte vasgestel en gesorteer. Gimnasiumkontrakte is toe aan hierdie ouderdomsgroepe in die omgewing bemark. Alright, so there's a big block at the bottom with all the different age groups. So if you were to put that into a stem and leaf, kom ons skryf net hier vir jou stam en blaar. Okay, a stem and leaf diagram has got, oh nee, ek is nog by sirkels, sorry, daar's hy. Het hier 'n lyn, né? Now, usually the left hand side we see as the stem, né? Die stam. En dit is dan jou tiende en honderde ensovoorts, né? So, if I'm representing 10, I would just write 1 because it's 1 10. Okay? So as ek hier 'n 2 het, is dit eintlik 2 tiende, met ander woorde dit stel voor 20, né? So on this side I will have, gaan nou hier skryf my tiende, honderde. Ek kan eintlik dit so maak. Tiende en die honderde. Nee. And this side I'm going to have my, weet jy wat dit in Afrikaans in Engels sê, my ene. Nee? Jou ones, ja. Ek het nie geweet wat die regte woord vir dit is nie. Jou ene, né? So sê nou maar ek wil praat van 19. Then I've got 10 on that side already, so I'll have a 9 here. So 19. Do you guys see that? If I want to talk about 12, I'm going to say 2, that 2, and this one makes 12. Okay. Now the right hand side, jy sal sien hier is myne nou nie mooi gegroepeer, nie gerangskik nie. We usually put it in ascending order. So I don't want it like that. If I've got 12 and 19, I would start with the 2 first and then have the 9. Nee, is julle reg? Okay, so die regterkant jou ene, gaan jy ook nog my mooi gaan rangskik. Okay, goed, so, you will see there's an example at the top of page 247. So, they had an age of 11, dis jou heel eerste een in die blokkie, so hoe skryf ek dit? 'n 1 daar vir my 10 en 'n 1 hier vir my 1, so 11. Okay, then there was also a kid that was 16 years old, so 16. Julle by? Then 17, so 17, 18, 10 en 19, 19. Is julle by? Nee, so jy het 'n streep en aan die linkerkant van die streep is jou honderde en jou tiene en aan die regterkant is dan nou net jou ene. Nee, onthou julle dit? Ek dink ons het dit in graad 8 gedoen. Huh? Nou skud daar ook mense hulle kop. Kyk, met COVID is daar so baie goed wat nie gedoen is nie. So op hierdie stadium is dit eintlik shaky om te sê, onthou julle dit verlede jaar gedoen. Right, so ek gaan nou nie deur daai hele diagram gaan nie. Jy het die hele voorbeeld in jou handboek daar voor jou. By die 20s het hulle gehad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So daar was 21, 22, 23 sorry. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Sien ons het nou nog, so ons kan nie siek raak nie. Right, so if I were to ask you how many people were there in this first class interval, klas interval, daar was gewees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mense. Nee. Okay. And in the second class interval, met ander woorde die ouderdomme van 20, hoeveel mense was daar? Daar was 1, 2, 3, 4, ekskuus, 5 nie alwees hier. 6, 7, 8, 9. So daar was 8 mense. Nee. Goed. Nou, dit is wanneer ek dit in 'n stam en blaar. That's when we draw a stem and leaf. I'm not going to finish the whole thing. Then, we can also put that in the form of a table so that we have class intervals. Nou kom ons kyk gou na dit. Dit is aan die onderkant van bladsy 247. Ek gaan hom sommer net gou vir jou so maak. Ja. Goed, class intervals. So 2 S'e. So, frequency. Like that. Okay. Goed, so the class interval. Daai heel eerste klas, nee? It goes from 0 up until 9, nee? So jy sal sien, hulle sê vir jou van 0 tot by 9. Nou kyk gou, want hierdie deel is belangrik. It may be equal to 9. So x can be greater than or equal to 9, nee? At the end of that class interval, it must be less, x must be less than 9, and it can also be equal to 9. Nee? Huh? Nee? Nee, hier is nou ander goed. Ja. Okay, now the second interval is going to start at 10 and it goes up until 19. Nou, baie keer. Okay, wag, kom ek verduidelik gou eers hierdie ene klaar. So, it may be equal to 10 and it may be equal to 19. Nee, nou wil ek net gou vir jou waarsku. Soms doen hulle dit, want hierdie is hoe dit nou lyk in jou handboek. Nee, right? You will see that this class ends at 9 and the next one starts at 10. Nee, maar baie keer gee hulle vir jou dit. They say this class ends at 10 and it starts at 10. Dan moet jy mooi kyk na jou tekens. Then this cannot be equal to. Because if I were to use that same number of 10, ek gaan nou so maak. If I had an entry of someone that's 10 years old, if that equal sign was there, then you'd have that person in this class, and you would also have it in the second class. En jy kan nie een persoon 2 keer gebruik nie. Verstaan julle wat ek bedoel? So that is why when the class ends, and this class ends, and that class begins with the same number, then that one may, either this one is not equal to, and that one is equal to, or you say it's equal to here, but not equal to there. Okay? So gaan kyk mooi na dit. As hy op dieselfde getalletjie eindig en die nuwe klas op dieselfde getalletjie begin, you've got to look at your signs. Alright. Okay, so let me just take that away. Okay, so between 0, okay, and then the next one was 20 up until 29. Okay, so the frequency, meaning frequency beteken ons hoeveel keer dit voorkom, nee, how many times it does occur within that class interval. Were there any marks between 0, oh sorry, not marks, any ages between 0 and 9? No, so the frequency there would be 0. Now, between the ages of 10 and 19. Nou kan ek teruggaan selfs na my stam en blaar toe. How many were between 10 and 19? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the frequency would be 5. Is julle by? Okay. Between the ages of 20 and 29, ek kan weer van my stam en blaar af gaan kyk. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ons het daar gesê 8 mense, nee. So the frequency would be 8 people. Are you guys good? Right. Now, once we've filled in this whole table, then we draw a graph. Goed, kyk gou daar vir my op bladsy 248. Good. So, when we have a table, not a table, a graph, the bottom part, my x-axis, in this case, would be the ages. Nee, die ouderdomme. Good. Now, we have class intervals for those different ages. So, we're going to start at 0, and then the first class was up until 9. Nee? En dan gaan hy eintlik nog op jou so maak. Dan gaan hy hier van 10, 20, 30, 40. And then this will be the frequency. Twee, 4, 6, 8, 10. Ek gaan nou net eers tot daar gaan. Alright. Kom ons maak hom lekker vet. Okay, so between the ages of 0 and 9, there was the frequency was 0, nee? So daar gaan glad nie 'n tabelletjie daar wees nie. Then the next one is from 10 up until 19. Daar was my frekwensie gewees 5. Met ander woorde van hier af soontoe. Nee? En nou sien jy dat my klas gaan eintlik net tot by 19? It actually only goes up until 19, so it should be just before that 20. Nee. But that is why they usually make it so that the class should end, nou net gou hierso. It should end here at 20 and start at 20. It should end at 10 and start at 10. Dis hoekom hulle dit gewoonlik so skryf, nee. So jy gaan nou sien in die oefeninge vorentoe. So that we can have it like a histogram, like right next to each other. Okay. Goed. Dan my volgende klas se frekwensie, die klas wat tussen 20 en 29 lê, the frequency was 8. So there would be 8 people there. So it's going to go up until there. Dit lyk nog glad nie baie mooi gedoen nie. So, do you guys understand what I mean? The frequency between 30 and 39. Kyk gou daar in jou handboek was 10 gewees, né? So that's going to go up until 10 and go to 40. Verstaan julle? Would you guys be able to draw these histograms? No. Okay. Nou, lees gou of my onder daai. In 'n histogram is daar geen spasies nie. We spoke about that. The data is continuous. Dis continu, dit is mos continuous, né? Ja. Continue van 10 tot 89 jaar. Elke staaf verteenwoordig 'n klasinterval en die frekwensie word afgelees vanaf die vertikale en die hoogte van elke staaf. Okay. Die volgende stap is om 'n frekwensie veelhoek op daai histogram te gaan teken. Is it a frequency table? There we go, thank you. Frequency polygon, né? 'n frekwensie veelhoek op die histogram te gaan teken. So basically we want, it's almost like ek mag nie dit sê nie, maar ek wil nou net gou hê jy moet die prentjie sien. As jy kyk daaronder, dit lyk amper so 'n gebroke lyn grafiek. Né? But it's not a broken line graph. We call it a frequency polygon, né? 'n frekwensie veelhoek. Nou om dit te gaan teken, gaan jy elke keer die middelste deel van daai staafie. I'm going to get that point, so the middle of this class interval, and the middle of that class interval, and the middle of this class interval. I've got to go and get those, right? And then I'm going to connect my dots. And where would be, nou dit vergeet om te sê, wat is die middel van hierdie klas, alhoewel daar geen staaf is nie? Even though there's no bar there, the middle of this class would still be there. So if I were to connect my dots, it's going to look like that. Okay. Lees gou saam met my daar in die handboek. Hulle sê die volgende stap is om 'n frekwensie veelhoek op daai histogram te gaan teken. 'n Frekwensie veelhoek is soortgelyk aan 'n lyn grafiek. Die verskil is dat die klas middelpunte, we use the middle of each of those class intervals, basically the middle of that bar of your histogram, van elke staaf van hierdie histogram hier met 'n frekwensie veelhoek verbind word. Vind ook die middelpunte van die klasinterval. Verbind dan al die punte om dit te maak. Nee? Okay. Right. Would you guys be able to do that? Good. Main thing is get the middle of every single class interval, even though there is no bar. Okay, like we did in that first interval. Okay, so your homework. Ooh, short. Nou het ek julle lekker vas aan die slaap gepraat, né? Nee?
Ja, jy
Sien vir julle. Want dit is sulke exciting werk. Bladsy 249. Die week het nou eers begin, my kind. Ek sien julle. 2A en dan 4AB. There we go.